Washington Pod presents EARL Nightingale.
Here's a real shocker for you. One psychiatrist has estimated that as high as 90% of all marriages are endured, but not particularly enjoyed. That's the sort of indictment which, if true, could cause a person to turn in his membership card in the human race. Even if that psychiatrist is 50% correct, it's a heck of a thing to contemplate. But do you know the reason for the negative reaction on the part of so many people toward the highly touted bliss of matrimony? Take a guess. What's causing this dismaying lack of enthusiasm on the part of married couples? The answer is that in about 90% of marriages, the interest has gone out of them. They've been permitted to grind to a boring halt in the interest department. We have contests and conventions for salespeople and business people. Professional people have their associations and a constant inflow of new material on interesting improvements or breakthroughs. Working people have baseball or bowling teams and various other kinds of interesting get-togethers. But what of marriage? What do the average married people do to constantly inject new interest and excitement into their marriages? According to the records, they do very little or nothing about it at all. Let me tell you what one extremely successful married couple I know does to keep charm and interest in their marriage. Each of them tries to think of ways in which he or she can demonstrate to the other his or her value as a partner in marriage. Hardly a week goes by without one or the other sending a card, usually a funny card, to the other. He travels quite a bit, and he sends her cards from airports all over the country. At the beginning of the year, each of them marks off important days on the calendar, days they don't want to forget, birthdays, anniversaries, and other special occasions. These days never pass without some kind of remembrance. They especially celebrate the anniversary of the day they met, and they have parties on the children's birthdays. They plan trips for weeks in advance, which gives each of them something to look forward to. Several times each year they go to a nearby resort for a weekend and play golf together, and just generally change the setting of their marriage. From time to time, each of them gives the other a prize for being a good wife or husband. They think of little, sort of inexpensive things to do for each other. They know that unless they work at making their marriage successful and interesting, it will slowly become dull and average. They've made a career of having a happy, interesting marriage, and their marriage is as interesting now, 20 years later, as it was the first year. They believe, as I do, that life is dull only to dull people. They don't want to be dull people, and they're not. Their marriage is high in the successful 10%. How about yours? What have you done lately to let your partner know how much you appreciate him or her? If you find that, the interest has largely disappeared from your marriage, remember that with very little effort on your part, it can be restored. You don't have to talk about it. Just start doing something about it.